Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rob's Movie Reviews. Before I start my review this week, I'd just like to say real quick to anyone who's watching this video right now on YouTube, you can also find all of my recent and future movie reviews over on BitChute. And for anyone following me on BitChute, you can catch some or watch some of my earlier stuff. I didn't actually start up my BitChute channel until about mid-September of this year. I first started on YouTube back in, I believe, early March of this year, so of 2019. So anything prior to September, if you're following me on BitChute and you would like to see some of my earlier stuff, you can go over to YouTube and you can find all of my earlier videos over there. Now, with that being said, I'd like to start this week's review. And since we're just a couple days out from Christmas and I did a Christmas movie review last week, I'm going to stick with that theme for one more week. And I'm going to talk about what is my absolute favorite Christmas film of all time. It was released back in 1983. I was about 14 years old then. And I just dearly loved this movie. I know a lot of people got burned out on it because at one point TBS thought it would be a wonderful idea every year for about 3 or 4 years to run a 24-hour marathon where all they showed was this movie. And a lot of people got burned out on it and it turned them off to it. But I think in years since they quit doing that, its popularity has taken off again. And there's no guess to why, because it's just one of the greatest Christmas films of all time. I'm talking about A Christmas Story, the story of Ralphie in the quest to get his Red Ryder BB gun. It stars Darren McGavin, Melinda Dillon, and Peter Billingsley. And it's based off a book of short stories by Mr. Gene Shepard. Several of the stories were kind of compressed together to get the inspiration for the screenplay of A Christmas Story. It's great. If you haven't seen this movie, and I can't imagine anybody out there that hasn't, but if you haven't seen this movie, you gotta watch it. It is absolutely hilarious. It's got a great Christmas feel to it. It's set in a northern Indiana town back in the 1940s. Peter Billingsley, our main star, Ralphie, knows that Christmas is rapidly approaching, and he has his heart set on getting a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. Unfortunately, he has to do battle with his mother because she doesn't like the idea of him getting one. She's afraid he'll shoot his eye out. He hears this multiple times through the movie, and not only from his mother. He's got a cranky father who has a mouth on him that is as foul as the day is long. And his father is played by Darren McGavin, a wonderful actor. I honestly believe this is his best performance of his career. He was just tremendous in this film. I absolutely love it. He's hilarious. He really helps bring the movie off. I think without him, had they cast anybody else in the role, I don't think the movie would have worked. Melinda Dillon is wonderful as the mother. I'm not going to say the same about her performance as I do Darren McGavin's. I think, somebody else could have played the part and it wouldn't have had as much of an impact on whether the film was good or not. She wasn't forgettable by any means, but she didn't add the punch to the movie that Darren McGavin did. Peter Billingsley, I think, was the perfect fit for Ralphie, perfect fit at the time that the film was made. He was probably the best choice they could have went with. It's a wonderful tale. It bounces back and forth between Ralphie's never-ending quest to get that BB gun, to convince Santa or his mother or his father or anyone that'll listen that he should get a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. It bounces from that to his constant struggle with the school bully, Scott Fargus. Scott is constantly tormenting Ralphie and his friends, inflicting pain on them until the point where, I won't go into too great a detail, but Ralphie has had a really bad day. He's had enough. Scott starts in with him, and Ralphie just beats the living daylights out of him. That's a really good scene in the movie. Like I said, if you haven't seen this movie, you really got to check it out. It is a great film. It's such a good movie, and it's so realistic to the time that it is set in. You know, I grew up listening to my mom and dad tell me stories of when they were children, and they grew up in the 1940s. They were about Ralphie's age during that period of time. And then when I sat down and saw this movie for the first time, it was like watching one of my mom and dad's stories come to life on the screen. Everything that they said life was like back in those days is so perfectly depicted in this film. It's so well done that in 2012, the Library of Congress actually voted to put this movie on the National Film Registry for its historical and cultural significance. That tells you a lot right there, just how accurate this film is to the time that it's set in. But like I said, it's based on a book of short stories by Mr. Gene Shepard. I haven't actually read the book. I'm going to have to find it and read it because I would love to read the book. Not just because the elements of a Christmas story are in there, but there's other stories that are not related to a Christmas story. In fact, I believe a sequel to this movie, a much lesser known film, which I have to admit I've never seen, entitled My Summer Story, was based off some of the other short stories in the book. But the book is entitled In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash by Gene Shepard. I definitely intend to get a copy and read it, but I would suggest if you haven't seen this film, or if you have and it's been years since you've seen it and forgotten about it, get a copy of this movie and add it to your video library, because this is a must-go-to around the Christmas season every year. It's a tradition in my household. Me and my kids and my wife, we love to watch this film each and every year, along with several others, which because Christmas is coming up this week, I got a late start on doing my Christmas theme reviews. Some of the films that we like to watch every year, I'll hold over and do reviews of next year. But I'm going to wrap up this week's review right now just by saying that I highly recommend A Christmas Story. It's one of the best, well, in my opinion, the best Christmas film of all time. And if you haven't seen it, give it a look-see. I think you're going to love it. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. And until next time, you all take care.